We've all been told that setting goals is the key to success. But here's the problem. Most goals actually set you up for failure. Ever made a New Year's resolution, felt excited about it, and then completely abandoned it after a few weeks? That's because the way that we set goals is fundamentally broken. And in this video, I'll break down why your goals might actually be the problem and give you 5 powerful strategies backed by psychology to set goals that you'll actually accomplish. Most people are terrible at setting goals, and it's not because they're not trying hard enough. It's because they're setting goals in a way that's almost guaranteed to fail. The goals that we set are typically too ambiguous, they're too vague, even though they're often quite ambitious. They feel good when we make them, but they're very difficult to execute. And we do it because we're setting out to be our most idealistic selves, trying to be inspirational to ourselves. But then reality hits. You're tired, you're busy, and that goal no longer fits your actual life. So the first step is to actually craft better goals. The SMART framework is the easiest way to set goals that are both clear and actionable, and it actually works, which is why this framework is used in a lot of industries like business and medicine. So let's break down how that works. The first criteria is to be very specific. This means that we want to identify the behavior that we'll be doing with precision. What exactly is it going to look like? What will you do? Are you going to be reading? Is it going to be walking? If you're exercising, what exactly will you do? The M stands for measurable. So how do you know that you actually did it? We want to specify the amount of work that we'll be doing. Are you going to run for 20 minutes? Will you exercise for 40 minutes? The goal has to be measurable. Making it achievable means that you can actually do it. So you probably can't read 60 pages in an hour, but you might be able to do 20 or 15. If you're working out 0 days per week, you're probably not going to work out 7 days a week. So what is it that you can actually do? This is a difficult one because it requires that we're being really honest with ourselves and sticking to what we can really do. The goal also has to be realistic. Will you have the resources to carry it out? If you've had a long day, you've been pretty busy, tackling your most difficult task, at the end of it, it's probably not very realistic. So scheduling a workout on the day that you have the most time and you've had a good night's rest, that's probably going to be a better strategy. And the last and perhaps the most important is to make your goal time sensitive. Instead of saying, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it Thursday, pick a very specific time that you intend on doing it. Is it going to be 6 o'clock? Is it 7:15? Is it 4 p.m.? Whenever it is, the more you can commit to choosing the specific time you intend on carrying it out, the more likely you are to actually do it. This is because it frees us up from the decision fatigue of having to choose what we're going to do and when we're going to do it. So does this mean that you have to make every goal that you set from this day forward to be fully smart and meet all of those criteria? Of course not. This is one of those things where you do have to experiment to see what are the characteristics of the goal that help you stick to it the best. The research actually shows that setting goals that are specific and challenging lead to the best performance. So if your goals are too easy, you're likely not going to have the motivation or drive to actually carry them out. And if they're too difficult, you're probably going to avoid doing them as well. So we're trying to identify what is the optimal zone that's going to be challenging, but not too challenging, that it motivates you to want to pursue that goal. Another big mistake that we make is trying to change too much all at once. Behavioral change is difficult. If you try to juggle too many goals at once, you're also likely to fail. Research indicates that both self-control and willpower are like muscles. They fatigue when they're overused. So the more changes you make all at once, the more likely you are to fail. Instead, just pick 1 or 2 goals and focus on making them stick before adding more. it's important to think about, why do you want to do this goal? If your goal isn't deeply connected to something meaningful, you won't stick with it. A big mistake that people make is confusing goals with values. You can think of values as deep, guiding principles that matter to you over the long run, and they're independent of the outcomes. For example, being healthy is a value, but losing 10 pounds is just a goal. There are many ways of living out your values or doing things that are about being healthy. So even though goals come and go, values are constant over time. If you set goals that align with your values, you're much more likely to follow through. So before you set a goal, ask yourself, what value does this reflect? And is this goal meaningful to me beyond just the end result of meeting the goal? Now, in order to maintain motivation over a long period of time, we need to have some kind of an evaluation strategy so that we can track our progress and see that we're moving forward. Otherwise, we can lose motivation and forget why we even started in the first place. So there's a few different strategies that you can use to track your progress. One of them is to use what we call quantitative tracking. This tends to be the best strategy for performance-based goals. You can track repetitions, you can track how much time you spend doing that goal. For example, run 3 times per week for 30 minutes. Another way to track progress is through qualitative reflection. This tends to be better for emotional or behavioral goals. One of the best examples of this is to journal about your progress. Did I stick to my process for 80% of this week? How do I feel about how I approach this goal today? Final way that you can track your progress is to use some kind of a visual tracking process. This tends to be best for consistency-based goals. You can use a calendar or a habit tracker to mark each success. Research shows that people are way more likely to accomplish a goal if they're accountable to somebody else. And some studies have shown simply telling someone about your goal makes you 65% more likely to accomplish it. And if you schedule a specific check-in with someone, that number jumps to 95%. So if you're really serious about hitting your goals, get someone to hold you accountable. So one of the challenges of tracking progress is that if we fail to meet our goal perfectly, we can feel bad about not having done as well as we hoped to have done. So if your goal was to read 10 pages a day, but you only did 5, don't scrap the goal. Adjust the goal to fit your reality. Maybe 5 pages is a better baseline, and perhaps you can stick to that for a week before increasing it to 10 pages again. The purpose of tracking is not just to feel motivated, but also to check to see if the goal that we set was realistic, it was achievable, it was pragmatic, it was something we could actually do. And if you're finding through your evaluation that you're not living up to what you wanted, the best thing to do is to actually change your goal rather than abandon the project altogether. So let's summarize the key takeaways from this video. So we've covered why most goal setting fails and the 5 strategies to fix it. Goal setting is difficult. It requires us to honestly ask ourselves what we want, why we want it, and to accept our limitations. It also requires us to focus on our progress and our process, not just outcome and completion. To make your goals stick, make them smart, limit them to 1 to 2 at a time, connect them to your personal values, track your progress, and use accountability. So what's the one goal that you're working towards right now? Let me know in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, you can check out this video right here for more information on how to build motivation. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel and give it a thumbs up so you don't miss the next one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.